This is our today's lesson plan. Describe the theoretical framework and also the basic features of theoretical framework along with hypothesis development. So first we will describe the what is theoretical framework and also the basic features of theoretical framework. Okay. We touched upon the theoretical framework before a class. Okay, I think it was the first class after coronavirus. And after theoretical framework, we will discuss the hypothesis development. Hypothesis development. Student learning objectives would be relation logic we will develop through the theory, and after that we will be developing the hypothesis. That is called testing statement भी कह सकते हैं, hypothesis भी कह सकते हैं. Hypothesis is for the purpose of testing the gathered data. Methodology would be learner centered. I hope you guys will be interacting with me, so we will try to make it more interactive. Problem solving we will be doing through numericals. Assessment would be through three problems. These are here 5.11, 12 and 13. Okay, this Word document I shared with you guys on VLE. I hope you can see that. Secondly, I'm about to share another document which is already shared on the VLE. This is lecture 2.1. Lecture 2.1. This is the PPT slides. ठीक है जी. अच्छा जी. First topic is theoretical framework. The theoretical framework represents and elaborates. First, we need to identify what is theory. Okay, so there has to be a theory, and from that theory, we have to develop a theoretical framework. So, what do you think theory can be? What do you think theory is? I think I already discussed quite a while before that theory is the logical relationship between the variables. Theory is the logical relationship between the variables in any given situation. Okay. Not every situation it is true, the relationship is true, but in some particular situation, okay, which is mentioned. So I would like to share a very good video which will tell you about the theory. Okay. So that video I already shared on VLE. That video I already shared on VLE. Let me open it for you. I'm about to play a video which you need to see, and so that you can understand the theory, the concept of theory. Okay, so this video is all about understanding the theory. Since we need a underpinning theory through which we can develop or through which we can support our deductive reasoning. So that's how we go in our quantitative research. Every or most of the students, 99.9% students go with the quantitative research. And in quantitative research, we can never develop a conceptual model without underpinning theory. So here we are discussing the theory. What is theory? Then I will let you know that how underpinning theories act in any research. ठीक है जी? So I want your concentration. There are a few questions which I would like to take. Let me see. सर व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप बना लें, वहां पर भी इजीली कम्युनिकेट कर सकते हैं. अच्छा, एक स्टूडेंट है मेरे पास, रमशा परवेज. रमशा परवेज ही है, ठीक है जी। इज शी हियर? रमशा परवेज, रमशा परवेज, आई डोंट नो है, इज शी स्टूडेंट ऑफ योर क्लास? अच्छा जी। So I am, there can be a student, there can be a single student who can be the coordinator among us. I cannot be part of any group because I have already developed many groups. So I am already intact with them. So I don't want to make a group and delay the communication because I won't be having time in answering you in a short while. So it is better if someone, a single coordinator would contact me. There is a student who is in contact with me. I think she can coordinate, or somebody else. Let's see. We will find some person. अच्छा जी सर व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप बना दें, सर व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप बना दें। ये anonymous attendee has to has, ठीक है जी, there must be no anonymous attendee. You have to log out and log in again, or you have to be with your name. You have to represent yourself with your name. ठीक है, I won't be answering any of your query if you are not log in with your own name. तैयबा कवल कह रही हैं सर आवाज प्रॉपर नहीं आ रही। अच्छा, मैंने तो आई हैव इवन टर्न ऑफ द फैन। तो आप सोचें कि मैं ये कर सकता था आपके लिए, एंड आई हैव डन दैट। अच्छा जी, थ्योरेटिकल फ्रेमवर्क तो मैंने अभी बताया नहीं आपको। मैंने आपको ये बताया है कि फर्स्ट वी आर डिस्कसिंग व्हाट इज थ्योरी, ठीक है, एंड व्हाट इज द रोल ऑफ थ्योरी इन एनी रिसर्च, देन आई विल लीड यू टू थ्योरेटिकल फ्रेमवर्क। सर कुछ समझ नहीं आ रहा, आवाज नहीं आ रही। हाँ, तो मैंने आपको बताया है कि अब आवाज बेहतर आ रही होगी। थ्योरी इज, हाँ, बेस्ड ऑन assumptions which generate testable predictions। नहीं, थ्योरी इज बेस्ड ऑन assumption नहीं होती, थ्योरी टेस्टेड होती है। थ्योरी इज ऑलरेडी टेस्टेड, ओके, इन अ गिवन सिचुएशन, नॉट एवरी सिचुएशन बट इन गिवन सिचुएशन, ठीक है जी। ये जो आपके हाइपोथेसिस है ना, ये बेस्ड ऑन assumption होते हैं, ठीक है जी, ये आप कह सकते हैं। और जो है वो assumptions, देखें, थ्योरी इज assumptions ऑलरेडी टेस्टेड होती हैं, ठीक है, तो ये हमेशा याद रखें, थ्योरी में assumption टेस्टेड होती है। आप जो assumption करते हैं फॉर योर ओन रिसर्च, you have to test them. Yes sir, she is our classmate, she is, I think, keep coordinating me. Ramsha is keep coordinating me, so I think she can be the coordinator. तो अगर ये बन जाए तो मुझे कोई इशू नहीं है, ठीक है जी। रमशा कयानी, लेट मी सी, आप रमशा परवेज हैं ये? अच्छा जी, अच्छा, अरीबा खान ने कह दिया मेरी दोस्त भी हैं, चलो भाई। जस्ट स्टूडेंट्स का बना दें, हाँ, स्टूडेंट्स, स्टूडेंट्स का तो मैंने कहीं मना ही नहीं किया, आप बना सकते हैं, आई डोंट हैव एनी प्रॉब्लम। सर काइंडली गिव द अथॉरिटी टू रमशा परवेज टू ऑफ मेकिंग द व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप, शी इज राइट, शी इज राइट, शी इज राइट। Ramaksha Parvez of making WhatsApp group, she is right. It will be more easy. हाँ, I don't have any problem. Ramaksha Parvez, you can make a group of the class. I don't have any problem with that. As easy, make as easy as it's possible for you, because I will be coordinating with Ramsha. So however she would like to coordinate with you guys, तो वो उस पे है, ठीक है जी। We can generate multiple hypotheses from theory, बिल्कुल कर सकते हैं, बिल्कुल सही कह रहे हैं अरीज नोवेरा साहब। होपफुली ये साहब ही हैं, आई डोंट नो, बुरा नहीं मानिएगा इस वक्त, सिंस आई कैन नॉट सी यू, अगर इफ आई एम मिस्टेकन अबाउट योर जेंडर इन सम टाइम, प्लीज डोंट माइंड। तो स्टार्ट कर दें ये एंड में डिस्कस, ठीक है जी, चलिए। अच्छा जी, let's see this video. This video is shared with you, right? So I am about to play. Ji, I hope everybody has watched the video. Let me share a research paper which I would like to discuss with you. This is a SOR model. This is a SOR model which we just discussed. SOR is stimulus organism response framework. The concept of stimulus is when we talk about the bell. Okay, we have trained the dog for the bell, and who was the organism? Organism was dog, and response was salvation. So basically, this model enable us to develop a conceptual model. ठीक है जी, मैं let me show you a model first. Where is it? This is the model over here. ठीक है, let me show this model too. This is a model. Okay, so this whole model is predicting the. This is. Let me show you. This is consumer is what? Stimulus, organism, or response? Tell me. And which is stimulus? Think over it. There I found a pen. I hope. Let's see if yes, I found it. I hope it won't make problem. This is the whole 3 variables. You have to consider one. Either it can be stimulus, it can be response, or it can be organism. Think through. Gee, what could it be? It is actually what? See, this is the expectation of us, and this is our consumer. So we can call it response, and this is what? Stimulus or organism. This is organism. This is an organism. This is stimulus, and this is response. Let me write. This is, if I could write, the response. This is the response, and this is the stimulus. I don't have mouse. Stimulus. And this is organism. Okay, so this is organism. So on the basis of this theory, we have developed this conceptual model, and this model, through this model, we will be conducting our research, and without any underpinning theory, we can never able to develop any conceptual model on which we can test. So for quantitative analysis or for deductive research, we need to have the logical relationship, and this theory of SOR model is making it logical. Got it? I hope you have got it. Let me read few questions since there are a number of questions in a very short while. सर मैं व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप बनाकर वहां सब ऐड हो जाएं हमशा. हाँ ठीक, कर ले, ऐसा कर ले. I don't have any problem. Please coordinate. No audio, sir. No sound of video can be heard. Wait, no problem. It is written down there. Sorry sir, मैं अरीज नहीं, नेहा सजल थी. मैंने गलती से लॉगिन अपना सिस्टर के नाम पे किया. नो प्रॉब्लम, नो प्रॉब्लम. अच्छा जी, अलीना जहरा कह रही है आवाज नहीं आ रही सर, नहीं समझ आया कुछ भी. क्या समझ नहीं आया? अच्छा चलें, मैंने आपको वीडियो दिखाई, मैं थोड़ा सा बताया था उसमें. वीडियो की आवाज नहीं आई है, ठीक है, तो मैं आपको दोबारा वीडियो दिखाया था क्विकली और उसमें आवाज अपनी जो है वो प्रेजेंट कर देता हूँ। कंज्यूमर इज ऑर्गेनिज्म, तो कंज्यूमर इज ऑर्गेनिज्म, वेरी गुड, शाबाश, फतेह साहब ने बिल्कुल सही। सेटिस्फेक्शन इज रिस्पॉन्स, नहीं देखें जी, इसमें सेटिस्फेक्शन इज नॉट अ रिस्पॉन्स, बेसिकली ये कंज्यूमर empowerment, trust, satisfaction, these things has to have these thing has to bring patronage intention actually. Okay, these things has to bring patronage intention actually, और these things develop, तो ट्रस्ट भी होना चाहिए, सेटिस्फेक्शन भी और कंज्यूमर एम्पावरमेंट भी होनी चाहिए, ठीक है। अच्छा जी, ट्रस्ट इज स्टिमुलस जी, ओके सर। अच्छा जी, मैं लेट मी शो यू वीडियो अगेन, अच्छा क्लियर हो गया, क्लियर ऑल ड्राइंग्स, ठीक है जी, लेट मी शो यू द वीडियो अगेन, सो एंड आई विल बी trying to lips somehow, or lips, or you may say I will try to tell you what is going on in the video if I could run it. Let me pen file again. Achha, this is a classing let me shut down its voice. This is a classical conditioning. This is the theory, and in this theory it is about, this is the dog, and the dog is this is the experiment actually, Pavlov experiment. In this Pavlov experiment, it is telling about the SOR framework, or classical conditioning. It is conditioning the response of a stimulus of an organism. It is developing the response or conditioning the response of organism. Okay. So the stimulus is bell. So they are developing the stimulus, making the neutral stimulus the conditional. See, they are ringing a bell, but there is no response because it is a neutral stimulus to the dog. But when we relate the bell and the food together, so the dog response is changed. Okay. The dog response is changed when we condition the food and the bell together. First we have to ring the bell and then we have to show the food. Another time we have to ring the bell, then show the food. So the dog is conditioned on the ringing of bell. So this is what, when you have some condition, you get the response. Okay. So with the condition, you can have the response. Okay. Of the organism. So this is the concept. So let me show you a little bit of let me show you a little bit of about the theory, underpinning theory, which we just discussed. This is okay. This is the stimulus organism response. Okay, framework has been extensively used to study the relationship between the retailing environment and the consumer shopping behavior. ठीक है, अब देखें, in these studies this same theory has been discussed before, or the same theory has been used for discussing the, or for resolving the, or for conducting a research between retail environment and consumer shopping. It describes the relationship among the stimulus, consumers' internal states, and the subsequent behavior. The stimulus influences consumer internal states, followed by their change behavior. With the SOR framework, the stimulus can be marketing related factors as well as environmental characteristics such as store atmosphere and websites. ये इन्होंने बताया है क्या क्या हो सकता है. The organism in the SOR model represent the internal states of the consumer. The organism includes not only internal activities such as perception, feeling, thinking, but also affective, emotional. This document I have shared with you. ठीक है जी. ठीक है, this document I have shared with you. So kindly have a look so that you would understand. Acha ji, let's move on to another screen, which was our theoretical framework. Acha ji. So what we have understood the concept of theory, why theory is important. Theory is required to develop any conceptual model. And what is conceptual model? Conceptual model is required to give the outlook of the concept you are going to test or the variables you are going to test. ठीक है जी? So the reason of the conceptual model is to represent the relationship, logical relationship of the variables. This is the Acha, what is theoretical framework? The theoretical framework represents and elaborates the relationship among the variables, explains the theory underlying this relationship, and describes the nature and direction of the relationship. Nature and direction is also important. Either it is positive and negative relationship. This is important. ठीक है जी? We will discuss it later, but there is a relationship between the variables. After identifying the appropriate variables, the next step is to elaborate the network of associations among the variables so that relevant hypotheses can be developed and subsequently tested. First, we have to identify the variable, which I already told you before in the last lecture. The next steps to elaborate the network association. Association means network of associations means the relationship among the variables. And after developing the relationship between the variables, we develop their hypothesis, which we will discuss it later. Okay. And based on the results of the hypothesis, we try to suggest the solution of the problem. We try to give the suggestion or to solve the problem in a given situation. So let's move on to the next slide. So let's see if we have any question. Sir, दिखी ही वीडियो पता भी है. देखी हुई है वीडियो पता है. शाबाश. सर स्क्रीन शेयर नहीं हो रही. स्क्रीन शेयर नहीं हो रही. ओहो नहीं. So सर पीछे से भाई आप anonymous attendee please log in with your own ID. स्क्रीन शेयर नहीं हो रही. ठीक है, नो इशू. आप समझ तो गए ना. ठीक है सर, थ्योरेटिकल फ्रेमवर्क रिपीट कर दें, वो मैं अभी आई एम जस्ट टेलिंग राइट नाउ. ठीक है जी. तो लेट्स मूव on. There, if you cannot see the video, you already have at VLE, so you can play the video on your own PC. There is no issue with that. You have the research paper with you. You have the video with you. You can run the video and you can look at the research paper. So if you are unable to see the video, watch the video. ठीक है जी. So you have to do that. रिपीट करना भी तो मैं चल रहा है ये तो अभी. अच्छा, रमशा परवेज हैज मेड अ ग्रुप ऑफ व्हाट्सएप. सो सर ये ग्रुप लिंक है chat.whatsapp.com. तो बहुत मुश्किल है इसको इस तरह से पढ़ना. अच्छा, मैं आपको दिखा देता हूँ शेयर करके स्क्रीन. ये तो कॉपी पेस्ट नहीं हो रहा. तो कॉपी पेस्ट नहीं हो रहा. हो गया. लेट मी चेक अगर ये कॉपी पेस्ट हो जाए. लेट मी सी. अच्छा जी, I am just about to share a screen with you guys of the WhatsApp group which Ramsha Parvez has just made. So check कर लें इसको आप. मैं I'm just about to share you. Can you guys see that? Can you all guys see that? ये एक स्टूडेंट ने अच्छा बताया कि सर अगर सब अपनी आईडी से ऑनलाइन आएंगे लिंक के थ्रू तो सब कुछ नजर आएगा, तो आपने यू हैव टू लॉग इन विद योर ओन आईडी विद द लिंक। ठीक है जी सर, ऐसे लॉगिन नहीं होगा, आप वीएलई पर अपलोड करें। क्या मतलब? नहीं मतलब ये कि व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप का मैंने ये दिया है तो इससे आप लोग नहीं दे सकते। अच्छा लेट्स सी व्हाट वी कुड डू। अच्छा लेट्स मूव ऑन, वेयर वर वी? अच्छा जी, the three basic features that should be incorporated in any theoretical framework. The can you see the screen? Let me check. तो मुझे doubt, हाँ ठीक है। There are three basic features that should be incorporated, feature या characteristics that should be incorporated in any theoretical framework. The variables considered relevant to the study should be clearly defined. ठीक है, हमने बात की वेरिएबल्स की कि the concept of theoretical framework is to represent the variable in a logical manner, ठीक है, with the underpinning theory and explain why we expect this relationship to exist, what is the reason, what is the logic behind, ठीक है ना। So the variable considered relevant to the study should be clearly defined, so there must be a descriptive definition of the variables. First is descriptive definition of variable, a conceptual model that describes the relationship between the variables in the model should be given, ठीक है। जो conceptual model जो कि रिलेशनशिप आपस में डिफाइन कर रहा हो वो conceptual model has to be given in the theoretical framework. It is one of the features. There should be a clear explanation of why we expect these relationships to exist. You need to explain that what is the rationale behind, what is the logic behind, okay, what is the logic behind, ठीक है जी। अब I am just giving a brief overview of the 3 points defining of variables, okay. The variables considered relevant to the study should be clearly defined. So first point I am discussing again defining of variables. So this is called descriptive definition. You will have to choose a useful definition from the literature and do not use dictionary definition. They usually too general. Definition of the literature means the definition has to be specific and about the variable you chose. One variable can be defined by many definitions. It does not have to be very general. It does not have to be other way. It has to be specific to your study. So from the literature you can find out. Literature different researches already done. It is also important that you explain why you have chosen a particular definition as your guiding definition. आपको why का जवाब भी देना होगा, why this is your particular definition. अच्छा जी, हमारा अब second point था conceptual model that describe the relationships between the variables in the model should be given. अब देखें, this is how we develop our conceptual model. Conceptual model describes your ideas about how the concepts in your model are related to each other. Conceptual model describes your ideas about how the concepts in your model are related to each other. ठीक है, ये अपना relationship बताता है कि how they are related. Through the schematic diagram of the conceptual model helps the reader to visualize the theorized relationships between the variables in your model and thus to obtain a quick idea about how you think that the management problem can be solved. So how, जैसे हमने last research paper में we just saw that the patronage intention was हमारा the main dependent variable. So what we did, we developed a conceptual model with the organism and with the stimulus. Okay, both a schematic diagram of the conceptual model and a description of the relationship between the variables and words should be given so that the reader can see and easily comprehend the theorized relationship. You have to define the relationships as well. Okay, why there is a relationship between the variables. ठीक है, ये भी आपको बताना है. Schematic diagram भी बनानी है, plus आपको ये बताना है कि relationship between the variables जो है वो किस तरह से डेवलप हुआ है, क्या लॉजिक है, थ्योरेटिकल. अच्छा, थर्ड पॉइंट है व्हाई एंड हाउ द रिलेशनशिप एग्जिस्ट. इसको आपको डिटेल बताना है कि व्हाई द रिलेशनशिप एग्जिस्ट एंड हाउ द रिलेशनशिप एग्जिस्ट. व्हाई मींस कि व्हाई देयर इज अ रिलेशनशिप बिटवीन देम, एंड हाउ मींस कि व्हाट इज पॉजिटिव रिलेशनशिप, नेगेटिव रिलेशनशिप. Okay, so a positive relationship means if one variable is increasing, if independent variable is increasing, it is causing the increment in the dependent variable. ठीक है. For example, workplace productivity increases the organizational effectiveness. So there is a positive relationship between workplace productivity and the organizational effectiveness. Okay, there is a positive relationship. If we see workplace politics and organizational effectiveness. Workplace politics is a independent variable and organizational effectiveness is the dependent variable. So there is a negative relationship between them. As much as workplace politics will be increased, there is a decrement in there is a weaken the relationship between the organizational effectiveness will be decreased as much as the organizational politics will be increased. ठीक है, तो ये हम देखेंगे लीनियर है नॉन लीनियर है, वो आगे की बात है कि द सेम वैल्यू अप एंड डाउन हो रहा है जितना बढ़ रहा है, या देयर इज अ नॉन लीनियर रिलेशनशिप. ठीक है, वो हम डिस्कस करेंगे, लेकिन हमें सबसे पहले उसकी नेचर मालूम करनी होती है, फिर उसकी क्वांटिफिकेशन करनी होती है. ठीक है जी, नेचर अटेम्प्ट्स टू ये बात इसमें बताई गई. तो फ्रॉम द थ्योरेटिकल फ्रेमवर्क देन टेस्टेबल हाइपोथेसिस कैन बी डेवलप. अच्छा, आफ्टर दिस थ्योरेटिकल फ्रेमवर्क वी डेवलप द हाइपोथेसिस. ठीक है, हाइपोथेसिस कॉन्सेप्ट हम अभी आगे डिस्कस भी करते हैं. ठीक है जी, तो इसका एक असाइनमेंट है, ये आप कर लेगा, एक्सरसाइज 5.10. ठीक है, एक्सरसाइज 5.10 इसको बहुत ध्यान से करेगा. ठीक है, और जो मेरी स्लाइड्स हैं प्लस जो मटेरियल है जो हमने कवर किया है of chapter 5, it has to be done again by your own. It has to be self-studied, and my research paper plus the video can be referred. ठीक है जी. Then you have to do exercise 5.10. अच्छा, let's discuss about the hypothesis development. Hypothesis development is what? Hypothesis development is through defining the hypothesis. And how do we define the hypothesis? Through statement in different formats, which we will discuss. And there are two kinds of hypothesis. One is directional and the other one is non-directional. One is directional and the other one is non-directional. So let's discuss them. So first is what is the definition of hypothesis? What statement can be called hypothesis? What statement can be called hypothesis? What statement can be called hypothesis? To test whether the relationship that have been theorized do in fact hold true. ये हम check करते हैं कि through theory whatever the relationship we have devised or we have developed, is it true or not? अब concept क्या है, वो जो एक student ने बड़ा अच्छा बताया था कि we test the hypothesis, and the reason of testing is just to ensure whether the theory is accepted, rejected or modified. What is the concept of accepted, rejected, modified? If all the relationship we develop through the theory are accepted, it means theory is accepted 100%. If all of the relationship are not significant, are not accepted, it means the theory is modified. And when all the relationship we develop are insignificant, are not significant in our statistics, so it means we say it is rejected. Let me repeat myself again. When all the relationship which we tested which we tested in our research are insignificant, it means the theory is rejected. So there are three kinds of results we get from the testing. Acha ji. We were discussing the hypothesis. I will be giving answers to your questions. Chale, let me answer the questions since we are getting so many questions. I am telling कि हमेशा लिंक के थ्रू आना चाहिए. हाँ बिल्कुल सही कह रहे हैं सर. ज्वाइन कर लें व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप. अच्छा सर, ऐसे नहीं हो सकता. आप जैसे कोई भी फोरम ऑन करते हैं वीएलई पर, सेम वही ही व्हाट्सएप का फोरम ओपन करके यही लिंक कॉपी पेस्ट कर दें तो वहां से लिंक क्लिक करके ज्वाइन हो जाएगा. अच्छा ठीक है. आप जैसे कोई भी फोरम ऑन करते हैं वीएलई पर, सेम वैसे ही व्हाट्सएप का फोरम ओपन करके ये लिंक कॉपी पेस्ट कर. अच्छा चलिए ठीक है, मैं कोशिश करता हूँ. लेट मी चेक. मैं कर सकता हूँ तो मैं करता हूँ, कोशिश करता हूँ. सर पॉइंट्स वापस समझा दें. कौन से पॉइंट्स नहीं आया समझ, एग्जाम्पल से समझा दें तो क्लियर हो जाता. किस चीज की बात कर रहे हैं आप? थ्योरेटिकल फ्रेमवर्क की बात कर रहे हैं तो इट इज वेरी इजी. इट हैज 3 स्टेप्स. ठीक है, मैंने आपको 3 स्टेप बताए. ये सबसे पहले तो हमने क्या बात करी कि फर्स्ट यू हैव टू डिफाइन द वेरिएबल्स. ठीक है, व्हाट आर द वेरिएबल्स. डेफिनेशन हैज टू बी डिस्क्रिप्टिव. सेकंड हमने क्या बात की, देयर मस्ट बी अ कॉन्सेप्चुअल मॉडल. ठीक है, एंड कॉन्सेप्चुअल मॉडल टेल यू अबाउट द नेचर ऑफ द रिलेशनशिप. ठीक है, एक पॉजिटिव है नेगेटिव है या कोई नहीं है, मतलब ना पॉजिटिव पता है ना हमें नेगेटिव पता है, ये भी आप बता सकते. थर्ड इज के व्हाई दे आर रिलेटेड टू ईच अदर, व्हाट इज द लॉजिक बिहाइंड दैट एंड हाउ दे आर रिलेटेड. ठीक है, आर दे रिलेटेड पॉजिटिव और नेगेटिव. ठीक है, हाउ दे आर रिलेटेड, तो उसको भी हम डिस्कस करते हैं. ऊपर हमने कॉन्सेप्चुअल मॉडल में पॉजिटिव नेगेटिव बता दिया, बट स्टिल हम डिस्कस जरूर करेंगे. ठीक है, इसको आप जब प्रैक्टिस करेंगे तो आपको समझ में आएगा. अच्छा जी, अब हम हाइपोथेसिस पे आ गए हैं. सर आप अनाउंसमेंट पर लिंक पोस्ट कर दें. चले मैं लिंक पोस्ट कर देता हूँ, अनाउंसमेंट ऐसे कर देता हूँ. सर उर्दू में पढ़ाएं प्लीज. उर्दू में पढ़ा रहा हूँ अब तो. मोस्ट ऑफ माई एग्जाम्पल्स आर इन उर्दू. नहीं आया समझ, एग्जाम्पल से समझा दें तो क्लियर हो जाएगा. ठीक है जी. अच्छा अच्छा जी, तो वी वर डिस्कसिंग the hypothesis development. And hypothesis development, first we have to define the hypothesis. Okay, then we will be discussing the statement of hypothesis, that how first we said कि what is the hypothesis. Definition of hypothesis mean what is the hypothesis. Okay, which thing can be called hypothesis. Okay, okay. And second is कि how do we state the hypothesis. Then there is a difference between them. How do we state the hypothesis, how do we write the hypothesis. ठीक है, how do we write the hypothesis in different formats, ये हम डिस्कस करेंगे. थर्ड इज कि there are two kinds of hypothesis. There are two kinds of hypothesis. One is directional, the other one is non-directional. ठीक है जी. So let's start with the definition of hypothesis again. To test whether the relationship that have been theorized do in fact hold true. मतलब significant है कि नहीं है. In the statistics we call it significant or insignificant. Hold true मतलब significant है या insignificant. By testing these relationships scientifically through appropriate statistical analysis to obtain reliable information on what kinds of relationships exist among the variables operating in the problem situation. ठीक है, what kind of relationship exists among the variables. कोई तो kind होगी उसकी relationship की. This is what we get to know through the statistics. ठीक है जी. अब see, workforce diversity has a positive effect on organizational effectiveness. We have developed a positive relationship between them. Why? Because most of the studies says that whenever there is a workforce diversity, then the organizational effectiveness is improved. That's why we are testing these same hypothesis. Okay, we are writing these same hypothesis. This is the reason. ठीक है ना. So we can never come up with the hypothesis by ourselves. We have to see in the literature whether what kind of hypothesis has been tested before, what is the pattern, what is the relationship has been tested before. So whatever the relationship has been tested, you have to go with that. You can never write the hypothesis non-directional if the variables have been tested before by other रिसर्चर्स। इसको और समझते हैं डिटेल में, ठीक है। फॉर्मेट ऑफ हाइपोथेसिस स्टेटमेंट, अब दीज आर द फॉर्मेट्स ऑफ हाइपोथेसिस स्टेटमेंट्स, ठीक है, दीज आर डिफरेंट फॉर्मेट्स। तो a hypothesis can also test whether there are differences between two groups। अब हम differences between two groups उसको भी hypothesis format होता है, वो भी एक, ठीक है, with respect to any variable or variables, एक variable के दरमियान और multiple variables में, to examine whether or not the conjectured relationship, conjectured means the thought out relationship, ठीक है, जो हमने devise किया, जो सोचा है, और differences exist, ये मतलब रिलेशनशिप एग्जिस्ट करता है और डिफरेंसेस एग्जिस्ट करते हैं, ये हम इसको चेक करते हैं थ्रू दी हाइपोथेसिस, ठीक है। प्रोपोजिशन फॉर्मेट क्या है, द फॉर्मेट क्या है पहला हाइपोथेसिस का, यंग विमेन विल बी मोर लाइकली टू एक्सप्रेस डिससैटिस्फैक्शन विद देयर बॉडी वेट व्हेन दे आर मोर फ्रीक्वेंटली एक्सपोज्ड टू इमेजेस ऑफ थिन मॉडल्स इन एडवर्टाइजमेंट। अब देखें, वी ऑल know that there is a relationship between the publicity of the famous model and their physique, ठीक है। young women will be more likely to express dissatisfaction with their body weight since the models are thin, so this proposition is conjectured that when they are more frequently exposed to images of thin models in advertisement, तो हमने ये कह दिया कि whenever the young women are exposed with the advertisement, the dissatisfaction increase, ठीक है। ये एक हमने स्टेटमेंट बनाई है हाइपोथेसिस। एक और है, वन इज प्रोपोजिशन फॉर्मेट एंड वन इज इफ देन फॉर्मेट। इफ देन फॉर्मेट क्या है, इफ यंग women are more frequently exposed to images of thin models in advertisement, then they will be more likely to express dissatisfaction with their body weight. So if then statement is when there is if and then, okay, the same statement we have made in if then, and this is the proposition format. So there are different kinds of format. One is proposition format and one is if then format. So you can make your hypothesis in these formats if you would like, ठीक है जी। Details you can read, or more further detail or more further description you can read through the book, ठीक है। The directional hypothesis, there are two types of hypothesis which I told you before. One is directional, one is non-directional. First, discuss about the non-directional hypothesis. What is non-directional hypothesis? Non-directional hypotheses are those that do postulate a relationship or difference but offer no indication of the direction of the relationship or differences. क्या मतलब कि there is nothing clear in that. What is the nature of the relationship? Either they have the positive relationship or the negative relationship. Let's see the example. There is a relationship between arousal seeking tendency and consumer preferences for complex product design. अब इन्होंने कहा there is a relationship. They have not written there is a positive relationship. When there is no positive negative word, okay, when there is nothing increment, ठीक है, then it means this hypothesis is non-directional. This hypothesis is non-directional. So in RP1, RP2, we have an option. Either we can develop the non-directional hypothesis or directional hypothesis. And what is directional hypothesis? If in stating the relationship between two variables or comparing two groups, terms such as positive, negative, more than, less than, and the like are used. More than, less than, negative, positive, and the like are used, then these are directional hypothesis. क्या मतलब comparative statement. The greater the stress experienced in the job, the lower the job satisfaction of employees. एक चीज बढ़ेगी, दूसरी चीज कम होगी, ठीक है। The greater the stress, the lower the job satisfaction, ठीक है जी। तो ये होगा नेगेटिव रिलेशनशिप। Women are more motivated than men. Women are more motivated than men, ठीक है। तो ये भी आप टेस्ट करें। This is also directional. There is a word of more in that. There is a word of more in that, ठीक है। When there is a word of less in that, it can also be a directional hypothesis, ठीक है जी। When there is a word of negative in that, जैसे ग्रेटर का हमने यूज किया, नेगेटिव का भी यूज होता है, जैसे मैंने आपको पहले दिखाया था नेगेटिव, ये जैसे पॉजिटिव आया है ऐसे ही हम नेगेटिव। वर्कफोर्स डाइवर्सिटी फॉर एग्जांपल हैज अ नेगेटिव इफेक्ट ऑन ऑर्गेनाइजेशनल इफेक्टिवनेस, तो ये भी लिख सकते हैं, ठीक है जी। क्लियर हो गया यहाँ तक? अब लेट्स सी, ये आपका होम असाइनमेंट है हाइपोथेसिस का। लेट मी गिव यू और लेट मी मेक यू अंडरस्टैंड द हाइपोथेसिस डेवलपमेंट through the multiple examples which I developed for you. This is your home assignment, and the slide which I am about to show you will help you in doing this home assignment. 5.11, 12 and 13. Note it down. 5.11, 12 and 13. Okay. Okay, let me share you a slide which I have developed for you for the practice, classroom practice. Okay. So let's start. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I have shared the solution as well so that you won't have any problem. So I hope the screen is being watched by all of you guys. Let me make it full screen. Acha ji, this is the conceptual model, and I want you to make its hypothesis by your own. This is the statement. This is not a statement. Hypothesis statement nahi hai ye. ठीक है? This is just the description of the relationship. Okay, this is the kind of the relationship. So what you have to write? You have to write the hypothesis statement. First, you have to see the type of hypothesis. Okay? Then you have to see the nature of the relationship. If there is any kind of direction in the relationship. Okay? Then I will show you the answer. अच्छा अनाउंसमेंट पे कर देते हैं, ये समझ में आ रहा है सर। जी आज जो सबमिट करने थे, द क्वेश्चन विच यू हैव टू सबमिट टुडे by yesterday or today, so you can submit by the next week. So I have increased a week deadline. ठीक है जी, तो ये भी बताना होगा कौन सा डिपेंडेंट कौन सा। जी जी आप ये बता दें, कोई इशू नहीं। ठीक है, कोई इशू नहीं। अच्छा कुछ मुझे बता रहे हैं, तो वर्कफोर्स डाइवर्सिटी इंक्रीजेस द ऑर्गेनाइजेशनल इफेक्टिवनेस। ठीक है, अगर आप समझते हैं तो ठीक है। मुझे मुझे आप इसका हाइपोथेसिस बताएं बेटा। ठीक है, सही है। फतेह क्या हुआ? तो खोलना तो मैं खोल देता हूँ। हाँ जी, तो माशाल्लाह आप लोग पिक कर रहे हैं। आई एम वेरी हैप्पी अबाउट इट। सर ये सबमिट करना है आज वाले क्या मतलब? हाँ आज वाले सबमिट करने होंगे, मतलब देयर विल बी अ डेडलाइन अ वीक। हाँ सही है, वो तो हम देखते हैं अभी। अलीना ने पूछा है कि एक्सेप्टेड रिजेक्टेड, तो बाद में। अच्छा जी इसका आंसर देख लें आप। लेट मी शो यू आंसर। ठीक है जी, ये है इसका पॉजिटिव रिलेशनशिप है। जो मैंने बनाया है ये भी एक वे है, और अगर किसी ने इंक्रीजेस का वर्ड लिख दिया वो भी सही है, गलत नहीं है वो। There is a positive relationship between workforce diversity and the organizational effectiveness। ठीक है, तो कॉन्सेप्ट क्या है? ये डायरेक्शनल हाइपोथेसिस है। ठीक है, और दो वेरिएबल हमारे वर्कफोर्स डाइवर्सिटी और ऑर्गेनाइजेशनल इफेक्टिवनेस। अच्छा जी, अब एक और प्रैक्टिस क्वेश्चन है, जल्दी से इसको करें। इसको करें फटाफट। It is done, then move to its answer. ठीक है जी, ये नेगेटिव है, ठीक है। The availability of reference manuals has a negative impact on number of rejects. क्यों नेगेटिव है? जितनी अवेलेबिलिटी ऑफ रेफरेंस मैनुअल्स होगा टू द एम्प्लॉइज, नंबर ऑफ रिजेक्ट्स विल बी लेस। ठीक है जी। अब थर्ड है, जल्दी से इसको करें। अब मैं आपको कम टाइम दूंगा। इसका ये बताता हूं कि देयर विल बी टू हाइपोथेसिस, वन विल बी बिटवीन डिपेंडेंट एंड इंडिपेंडेंट एंड द अदर विल बी ऑफ मॉडरेशन। जल्दी से क्विकली। डन डन, लेट्स चेक इट। अच्छा, इसके अंदर मैंने जो है ना वो एक हाइपोथेसिस जो डिपेंडेंट डिपेंडेंट का जो हम पहले बना चुके हैं वो नहीं बनाया, लेकिन फॉर एग्जांपल इफ यू कंडक्ट रिसर्च, in that research you will have to make the two hypotheses. ठीक है, one is dependent independent and other one is moderator one. So in this solution I just showed you the two form of the same hypothesis. क्या मतलब? Two form of the same hypothesis. Let me find a pen for you. ये अच्छा जी। What I am saying that I have made one hypothesis of this only. ठीक है, in the research which you will do by yourself in RP1 and RP2, in that you will have to make two hypotheses. One is between independent and dependent, the other one will be the moderating hypothesis. So I just made the moderating hypothesis. ठीक है जी, this is what I wanted to say. Let me, ये फंस गई। हाँ जी, उसको आप पढ़ लें. These are the two ways of explaining the single hypothesis. Okay, this is the single hypothesis, and these are the two ways in which you describe the statement. Interest and inclination of implies moderating the negative relationship of availability of manuals and the number of rejects. ठीक है, same चीज दोबारा explain की है in the different manner. It is in the different manner. ठीक है जी. Interest and inclination of employees moderates the relationship between the availability of manuals and the number of rejects such that an increase in interest and inclination of employees would weaken the relationship between availability of manuals and the number of rejects. ठीक है जी. तो ये दो फॉर्म है इसकी. अब एक मैं आपको एक दिखाना चाह रहा हूं उसमें कि एक और वे ऑफ हाइपोथेसिस कि ये आपका बेसिकली एक आपका मॉडल है. दिस इज योर मॉडल इन विच रुमिनेशन, जो मैंने पहले आपको डिस्कस किया, दिस इज अ डीप थॉट. ठीक है, तो स्ट्रेस, डीप थॉट एंड डिप्रेशन. तो डीप थॉट इज मीडिएटिंग बिटवीन स्ट्रेस एंड डिप्रेशन. Let me repeat, rumination is rumination is mediating the relationship between stress and depression. Okay, understood this conceptual model? Now let's define its hypothesis. The first hypothesis will be stress and depression. Second will be of stress and rumination, and the third will be of relationship of rumination and depression. So there are three hypotheses. Okay, and the fourth one will be the mediation one. Okay, in your research you will have to write it down, the four hypotheses for your mediation. I hope you got it. So I just showed you the different kind of hypothesis. You develop. This is a simple conceptual model. This is also a simple conceptual model. This is the moderating. This is showing the moderating effect of a conceptual model. In a conceptual model, this is showing the mediation effect of the conceptual model. ठीक है जी. Now I would like to show you if there is a variable which has dimensions. Dimension means what? For example, psychological empowerment. This is the topic which we never discussed in the detail before. So I want your concentration, little more concentration. Sahi? I want your little more concentration. Psychological empowerment. Psychological empowerment has four dimensions. One is meaning, second is competence, third is self-determination, and fourth is impact. Okay, it has four dimensions. So every dimension has to have the hypothesis as well. Okay, dimension is what? Is psychological empowerment cannot be measured with by itself. For example, we cannot measure the psychological empowerment with 4 questions. We have to measure the psychological empowerment with 2 questions of meaning, 3 questions of competence, 4 questions of self-determination, and 5 questions of impact. So it becomes more than 12 questions. So about 12 questions, we will measure the relationship between the psychological empowerment and the creative performance. So that's how we make the hypothesis in different relationships. This is all. I think. And this is the last exercise if you would like to make. तो आप इसका बना लीजिएगा तो आपको आइडिया हो जाएगा कि जो है वो इसका बनाए जल्दी से. इसकी एक्सरसाइज है, क्लास एक्सरसाइज है. We are short of time. We have to complete our class. डन बच्चों? अच्छा जी, I am not about to show the solution, but the solution has to be this way. मैं आपको बताया था, ये इसका जो है ना वो 4 hypotheses बनेंगे इसके, ठीक है जी, बना लिएगा आप. And the exercise which you are supposed to do in the before the next class will be exercise 5.11, 5.12 and 5.13. 5.11, 5.12 and 5.13. ठीक है जी, तो ensure you have done that. बहरहाल व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप की मैं लिंक आपको वीआईली भेज रहा हूँ, यू कैन ऑल ज्वाइन द व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप फ्रॉम दैट देयर, ठीक है जी. और अमशा विल बी कोऑर्डिनेटिंग फ्रॉम मी, आई विल नॉट बी पार्ट ऑफ द व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप. एंड गुड लक फॉर योर good luck with your assignments and have a safe day. Thank you. Allah Hafiz.